For months and months, Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the health care crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting.
8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. Is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened.
So now the government is about to be back open after Democrats lose the plot, and 8 Democrat senators jump ship and side with Trump and the Republicans. And Chuck Schumer loses his mind on the House floor behind this because apparently he had no idea that they were going to jump ship. Many Democrats are calling him to step down, that AOC must replace him ASAP because he has lost total control of his party. He had no idea that apparently 8 Democrats made a deal aside from him. Or is that a lie? Did he know? Did he make the backroom deal and then did this in order for people to believe that he voted no on this? So Democrats have all caved. 8 of them have caved and voted with Trump and the Republicans to open up the government, as Republicans get everything and Democrats get 0. I want you to take a listen to the first few seconds of Chuck Schumer absolutely blasting himself, losing his mind, because he just is. He's lost it.
I must vote no. This healthcare crisis is so severe, so urgent, so devastating for families back home that I cannot in good faith support this CR that fails to address the healthcare crisis. But let me be clear, however this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin. And make no mistake about it, the American people know who is inflicting this healthcare trauma on them: Donald Trump and the Republicans. Americans will remember Republican intransigence every time they make a sky-high payment on health insurance. So we are going to fight legislatively, fight back home, fight in the courts, and bring this fight in the elections. Healthcare costs made a major impact on the 2025 election, and they will certainly have an even greater impact on the 2026 election.
So a lot of Democrats are mad at Chuck Schumer, saying, what do you mean fight, fight, fight? You need to fight the people in your own party that have jumped ship from you. Apparently, you're the guy trying to keep the government closed because you want all these deals, but they took nothing. They took nothing. They had nothing but pressure, and they took nothing. They just want the government open. They care about the American people, unlike you. And now many different Democrats are in panic mode because they're like, what happened? What are you doing, Chuck? How did you not stop these Democrats from siding with Republicans? Well, let me show you how it's already a meltdown, right? We have Simone Sanders, who, again, raging Democrat, progressive, if I'm not mistaken. She's on MSNBC. She says if they don't get anything, but they promise for a vote later, then how do Senate Democrats explain 40 days of people who have been suffering? The people were supportive of Democrats' efforts to fight something, but what happens if the fight ends with nothing for the people? So you got nothing in return. But crazy part about it is people suffered. This is it right here. And it's all backfired on you guys. So now Democrats in Congress who are getting paid are mad that Democrat senators, I'll show you who the Democrat senators are, 8 of them decided to vote with the Republicans. Here they are, right? They have betrayed, in good faith, it seems, Chuck Schumer. Let's take a look. Breaking: 8 Democrat senators 8 Democratic senators have voted yes on the procedural vote for the continuing resolution, securing the 60-day supermajority needed to break the filibuster and advance efforts to end the government shutdown. Dick Durbin, Maggie Hassan, Tim Kaine, Angus King, Cortez Masto, Shaheen, Jackie Rosen, and of course, Senator John Fetterman. They have said enough is enough. We will do a backroom deal, right, without Chuck Schumer. Now, this has 2 parts. Do you believe, and I want you guys to help me with this, do you believe that Chuck Schumer knew about this? He convinced them to open up the government and said, I will write a speech that will contradict me because I want to save face to the progressives? Or did Chuck Schumer actually lose control of his whole entire party, and 8 Democrats decided to open up the government with nothing to gain from it after 40 days of suffering and unsure and anxiety and uncertainty? I think I'm going to go with answer 2. I think Chuck Schumer has no idea what he's doing, and I think he's completely lost all hope in his party, which brings me to the civil war that has broken out tonight. A civil war has broken out tonight. Let me show you. Ro Khanna, Democratic representative, Ro Khanna has said Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. Many people are calling on AOC to replace Senator Schumer because apparently he has no control over his party. He had no idea the Democrats were going to vote yes on this procedural continual resolution to open up the government and stop people from suffering, right? So the civil war and the pointing the fingers have begun because Democrats really thought they had the people on their side, but they didn't know. And today, what the wildest part about this is that Trump announced that there might be a $2,000 dividend for the tariffs. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've been on Facebook all day just looking at people's responses to this. And man, is Trump outsmarting this? Trump also made another announcement, right? The filibuster, right? That is something that had Republicans really ready to go and make the move by bombing the filibuster to get all the stuff done that must be done to open up the government and force the government to be open. When Trump began to say that, a lot of people on the left and in the middle said, wait a minute, why is Trump going so hard to open up the government? They've been telling us that, hey, it's the Republicans' fault, but the Republicans are the ones banging on the door of the Democrats to open up the government. So a lot of narratives have been lost. And here I want to go to the meltdowns on MSNBC. Democratic Representative Brandon Boyle said he is completely perplexed after 8 Democrats voted to reopen the government behind Chuck Schumer's back. Take a listen to this.
Pennsylvania. Congressman Boyle, thanks so much. I saw your statement on this deal, such as it is. I think you said you were a hell no on the deal. You know, no way to sugarcoat it, I guess. Can you explain how you interpret why this deal came together now, a few days after this blowout election where Democrats seem to be taking a victory lap, well, literally taking a victory lap, or at least had a victory? Why now would Democrats in the Senate decide to lay down their arms, you know, potentially end this shutdown, when the terms that are being offered by Republicans don't seem to have changed?
I can't explain it because, to be frank, to me, it makes absolutely no sense. I am completely perplexed by today's developments, or really the developments of the last few hours. On Tuesday, we essentially had the proof that the American people overwhelmingly were on the Democrats' side of this argument. Polls have been...
So apparently this guy is shocked that some Democrats have warm blood coursing through their veins. We want the government open, government about to open. Not like this, he says. As much as I love the government being closed, seeing the Democrats break rank is pretty delicious. Sounds like they just lost the shutdown fight, caused a month of passion for no reason. Obviously, they caved because they were wrong. So again, many Democrats are very mad about the fact that the Democrats did a backroom deal. And, you know, it hurts a lot of Democrats because they wanted to keep it going. They felt like this was their moment. And John Fetterman comes out. He says after 40 days As a consistent voice against shutting our government down, I voted yes for the 15th time to reopen. I'm sorry to our military, SNAP recipients, government workers, and Capitol Police who haven't been paid in weeks. It should have never come to this. This was a failure. So John Fetterman coming out and saying this was all a complete failure to prove what point? To prove what point? And I do want to play one more clip. By the way, Gavin Newsom is another one that's really pissed off. Like he is pissed off. But let me go here. Scott Jennings just flamed Democrats for keeping the government closed. This was from last week. And he had made the prediction that they will cave.
How are Republicans going to use leverage in their fight with Democrats when the Democrats are actually the ones with the upper hand in the eyes of voters?
Well, I'm sure Democrats will be more than happy to open the government now. The election's over. I mean, part of the reason they shut it down was to get through tonight.
I mean, I
would suspect they'll be glad to open it up by the end of the week.
Adam Schiff, he was like, hold the line.
AOC, there's lots of rumors of people wanting to open it.
Look, I don't see what is the incentive for Democrats to back down when voters are basically saying Trump's not doing enough. It's the Republicans' fault, and then they basically handed the keys in this past election to the Democrats. Where's the leverage?
Again, these are blue states electing Democrats, not a shock. Democrats clearly wanted this shutdown to get through Election Day. I do think they are facing pressure from their internal coalitions. The unions, the air traffic controllers, the government employee unions are desperate to get the government back open. They're feeling a little bit of internal heat. But again, the election's now over. I'm sure tomorrow morning phones will start ringing and it'll be open soon enough. This was a political shutdown, and that's what they did. And now we're through the election.
And that's exactly what it was. But they wanted to keep it going. They wanted to keep it going. It sounds like everybody is pissed off about this. They wanted to keep it going. This was the goal. Let me go to Gavin Newsom. I want to read this because they felt like they were making so much political gain behind this. They were making gain behind this. Again, Gavin Newsom says pathetic. He hates that this is happening. Nina Turner responds to him by saying, but let's gerrymander these folks into power, right? Pak mi keto. Partisan gerrymandering leads to all politicians who work for corporations, not their constituents. Self-awareness is excellent quality. Cry harder, Satan, somebody says in the comments. Cry more. So again, Democrats, very mad. A lot of people laughing in the comments that they have caved and now the government is back to being open. So the narrative that this was a Republican and Trump shutdown really has ended, and it may not have been good, because I think that there's nobody more motivated to do well now in the midterms coming up than Republicans are, than Trump is, than a lot of people are. So this is going to be a battle of ideas. What are Democrats going to go on and run on next, since the government is not closed anymore? So again, Democrat civil war. They want to replace Chuck Schumer. They want him out of here. They believe that his time has come and gone. It is time for the AOCs and the super far left progressive Democrat Socialist part. That's what they're rooting for, and that's what they want. Are they going to get it? Bernie Sanders spent less than 5 minutes, I think, speaking on the House floor before the vote took place. And he was one of the main people that was against this as well. So, hey, the Democratic Socialists are again trying and wanting to take over the Democratic Party, which, if you are a Republican or a conservative, somebody in the middle, this is pretty crazy to watch how they're eating their own right now.